go. That's one of Margaret's throwbacks right there. She was an Al B. Shore lover. she used to have a lot of love for Al B. Shore coming up in the good old great area of New York City. And now we got her. We got her in D.C. You know what I'm saying? And she has a book. Her book is titled Raising the Standard in Your Walk with the Lord. Miss Margaret P. Bean, you know what I'm saying, live in the studio. I got on the Periscope too, y'all, so you can show us some love on the Periscope. And if you want to talk to Margaret, you can call at 240-339-4127. Or you can hit up on the Noise Maker Nation back phone, 202-498-5077. And let's talk a lot about the book. I don't want to talk a little bit about the book. Okay, I want to talk a lot about the book. What's your favorite part in getting this book together? What was your favorite thing as far as you putting the whole, you know, doing your whole writing for it, putting your mind, your best step forward in the book? What was your best thing about this book?
Talking about my parents, my dad and my mom and my grandmother. My grandmother was very inspirational in my life. I stayed with her from the age 1 to 8.
But that's normally how it is with a lot of folks. Growing up, grandma is it?
Yeah, grandma dragged me to church. She gave my first drug problem, I call it. And my mom, just, you know, her raising her 5 children and still having a zeal for God. And my dad just so into wanting to do what it took to encourage and inspire people and build them up and make them better people. Yeah.
Now, when talking about the walk, when you talk about people having their own walk, their own stride with the Lord, how important is it for people to, shall I say, to build their strength with knowing, you know, with knowing God, should I say, first off, you know?
It's an intimate relationship. It's a real relationship. It's something that you should have in your life. I mean, when you're in that car accident, the first person you call on is God.
Yeah.
You know, the first incident, something bad happens. You can walk forever and nothing happens. And as soon as something happens to you, oh my God.
Oh my God.
An accident happened, your favorite family member, I'm going to church after that funeral. You know, I'm going to church when I get myself together. I just taught a workshop a couple of weeks ago. If we could get ourselves together, there would be no need for a relationship with God. And we wouldn't be in the predicaments that we are if we could get ourselves together.
Now, you know, that's something crazy. The first time, whenever you get in trouble, that's the first thing you say is, oh my God, but then you say, let me call my mother.
Oh, my grandmother. Somebody that's going to pray for me. You know, we realize and we recognize where our strength comes from, but we won't tap into it for ourselves. You know, grandma's going to pass on one day, mom is going to pass on one day, and so don't let their prayers be in vain. Really tap into that relationship that they had, because you are aware that they do have a relationship and that when they pray for you, things do happen. So tap into it for yourself.
Your favorite part of this book, you said, was about talking about your mom and dad.
Right.
How, should I say, how much did you talk with your parents about the book?
My mom passed in 2003 before any of my books have been published at all. Her life was a part of my book in the sense that she was a writer, so I feel like I'm fulfilling a part of her legacy. She was published years ago, and I actually have the little poem that was published, but I feel like I'm carrying on her legacy with writing these books that I'm writing.
Okay. Now, when you talk about your next book coming about, how is the combination of the two going to be, should I say, pushed? It's always a combination of, whenever anybody writes a book, it's always a combination pushed from the first book and that second book. And that second book gets a lot, should I say, heavier into the author.
Okay, well, that one actually does get heavier into the author because the author has discovered who she is.
Right.
And so it's a whole totally different concept. Madison St. Clair is a bad sister, okay? She's a sister with the black wide leg pants on, the arms crossed, and she got brown blonde hair going on, and she's like, I'm here, baby. She's a totally different person than the Pastor Margaret B. Bean that you see on the back of this book. She has evolved into who she is, and so the writing is totally different.
Wow.
My other book that I have after that is called A Pastor's Pain. I started writing that book in 2008, and I thought that I was finished with it, and God said I had not experienced enough pain, and I was like, ouch, God, that's not funny at all. And so even now, I would like to release that one right behind this one, but it's still not ready yet. So that must mean I still have some more pain to deal with.
Okay. So now, when I interview folks, I like to give folks a little game, and this game is word association. So I'm gonna get now. I'm gonna put you in the seat, Margaret.
Okay, I'm in the hot seat.
You're in the hot seat now. It's five things I'm gonna give you.
Oh my, let me write this down.
And but when I give it to you, you got to come on top of your head with one thing.
Oh my God, he's preparing me for Family Feud.
It's one thing you got to think that coincides with what I give you.
Okay, all right.
Okay. You ready?
Now you know I was a high school dropout, right?
Baby, it don't even matter. Look, it don't take a high school diploma for that.
Okay, all right, let's go.
It's all on from the heart.
Okay.
It's all on the heart. All right. Freedom.
Bondage.
Bondage.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with church.
Find a good one.
Find a good one. Amen. Let's go with love.
Unconditionally.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Life.
It happens.
Wow. Wow. Hey, wait, you said this was going to be hard, really? And I'll say pastor's kid.
Ooh, expectations are unbelievable.
That's what I'm talking about. Why'd you say that was hard? That wasn't hard.
I'm ready to cry right now. Oh my God, Karen, where are you? My girl, Karen Sussman in New York. I'm giving her a shout out because I'm crying right here on the radio station.
You are all, trust me, you're all good.
Okay.
Now, going back again, especially as though we doing Throwback Thursday.
Yes.
Let's throw it back to when you just sat up and tried to deal with some of your odd friends, and you went through that. Any of your relationships with your friends, with any of your past relationships that you had, anything, should I say, that you kind of like took from that and put into either one of your books?
Yes, I have one short story that's coming out in the next book. One of my dear friends, her and I, we hung out. I loved her dearly, but drugs got a hold of her. They didn't get a hold of me because I just knew that that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't like being out of control. Yes, I've drank. I've tried marijuana. I think one time I tried some PCP with somebody, and that high was just totally crazy, and I was like, I'm never doing this again. So I never wanted to be out of my faculties. But in any relationship that I've had really good relationships. My best friend, Jerry White, shout out. I've known him since I was 12 years old, and we're still friends, and we talk every day. And so I have long-lasting, loyal relationships with people that really mean something. And so all of my friends that I do have in my life, my first friend, Renee Robinson, they all have an instrumental piece in who I am today. They also, what I take away from those relationships is that what I want now in life and what I don't want in life. And then the other piece to it is those were childhood things to help me become the adult woman that I am. And so now that I'm the adult woman that I am, I just glean from those things in those relationships. As far as like personal relationships, I've been married twice. I've dated some interesting people in the last 2 years, and I've learned in that what I want in a relationship and what I don't. So right now I'm just single, chilling, relaxing, and waiting for what it is that I really want.
Y'all should see how she said I dated some interesting people. She said I dated some interesting people over the last few years.
And it's only been 2 people, not a whole lot, just 2, but they were very interesting. Show me what I want and don't want.
If y'all want the first couple, y'all saw the look on Barbara's face, but she said I've dated some interesting people over the last few years.
Y'all know this dating game in 2015 is hilarious, okay? I wasn't a part of the game. I had been married for 20-something years, and so coming into the game in 2012, 13, oh man, welcome.
A different set of open doors, right?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, now let me see. When people read your books, what is it that you want them to actually take from your book to inspire them?
That's gonna have to be a personal choice because I deal with a lot of different subjects, all relative to the same topic,
Right.
but one page may be for one person, another page or another story may be for another person.
Okay.
I do want everyone to walk away encouraged, inspired, and strengthened in whatever area they may be weak, so that they can be built up and become better people.
Okay.
So I have my email, I have my webpage. They can call me, they can actually get in touch with me if they want to share and talk about their experiences so that I can help edify them to be better people.
I'm gonna give you the book so you can put it in your hand because they want to see it on the scope.
Oh,
So they want to know, give everybody the details on where they can get the book, on how they can get information from you, how they can go and link up with you, give them all your stuff.
okay, email mpshore1@gmail.com. I do respond to my emails. I'm a very responsive person. My webpage to order my book online, everything is margaretpbean.com. And to actually speak to me, my cell phone is always on. I don't know if I want to give out my phone number for everybody, but those who do have it, call me. But send me an email and I will respond to you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this book out at this time right now because now is the time to raise your standard in your walk in everything.
And that's what I'm talking about. We got a new young lady. Michonne, hey Michonne, what's up? Michonne, she just joined in. That's Mike Ware's wife. That's who we prayed about earlier.
Hey, Miss Michonne, how are you?
So she just came on and she just joined in. So we're gonna see how I should say Miss Marvin feels about some of these stories. Being a pastor's kid, being a preacher's kid. Uh, we got some stories that have been happening in churches here lately, um, and I want to get your feel on it. We got a situation that happened on Sunday,
Okay,
and it happened in Detroit.
okay.
A pastor shot a young man 5 times,
Mercy God.
and what's crazy is the young man went into the church with a brick, going after the pastor.
Wow.
He went after the pastor because he found out that the pastor had impregnated his wife.
Wow.
The same pastor that impregnated his wife is a pastor that he considered a father figure.
Wow.
They were actually living at the pastor's house.
Wow. To speak to all of that, the only thing that I can say is that we all are imperfect people on a perfect road to God. And in our imperfectness, we fall, we miss it, we're human. We put too much emphasis on him being a man of cloth, the man of God and the cloth, and we put them so high up here to think that he couldn't fall to temptation.
Right.
The book talks about temptation, and in temptation, flesh is weak. We're supposed to die to our flesh daily, and so the incident of him sleeping with the wife, that's just flesh, that's lust, that's just something that he probably needed to be accountable to someone. He needed to be honest that he had that issue.
Right.
A lot of times we don't want to deal with honesty about what we have. Everybody has the one common thing is denial.
Right.
And so we deny whatever our issue is. And so he had some lustful issues going on, some disrespect for the marriage as a whole, and the idea that he would shoot him to try to defend himself. All of that's flesh stuff. That's not godly stuff. And so at the end of the day, all I can say to that, being in flesh, is that we're imperfect people, and just like the people that we have to minister to, God has to deal with us too. And sometimes people get into the church thinking title, status, money, position, and they don't really think about their relationship with God and how I need to carry out my life in such a way that these people's lives would be changed.
True.
So he's human. I'm not making any excuses, but he's human and he slipped and he fell. And I pray for the whole situation that God would show up because it doesn't seem like God was there at all.
Second incident, you had a young man and his brother who were at church and had spoke in front of the church and saying that they were leaving the church. But and I just read this story this morning. But the parents of the young men
Mm-hmm.
beat them in the church, along with some members of the congregation, beat them in the church, that are now in jail because the 19-year-old boy of the brothers died. It's
From
like
the beatings
from
that
the
they
beat, yeah,
received
from the
from the
beating they
people in the
received,
church.
yeah,
Everything that's dressed up and presented as church sometimes could be cults. It may not always be church.
right,
We're dealing with a lot of people who have medical issues, mental issues, and so what one thing may mean to you, it may mean something to someone else because Scripture does talk about spare the rod, spoil the child, and so it could be misinterpreted. Let me beat them more so they won't be spoiled. So it just depends on how you interpret what you read. It depends on who you connect with and consider to be a church. It may not always be a church, and so once again, humanness, imperfect people. My heart goes out to the families because to beat someone until they die, that's just really unbelievable.
yeah.
But Scripture also talks about in the last days, people will be boastful, unholy, and unloving. And so I think that the one thing that we're missing as a people is real, sincere, unconditional love for people, you know. And so this is how you can hear these stories because Scripture is going to be fulfilled, and it talks about times like this in the end.
Now, October being a month for breast cancer
Mm-hmm.
awareness and also for lupus and
Mm-hmm. And
also
HIV.
HIV
Mm-hmm.
and domestic violence.
Yes.
Um, Let me give you these two situations here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I got a situation of a 14-year-old boy
Mm-hmm.
and an 18-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Went to help their mom,
Mm.
and they helped their mom out of a domestic situation on
Wow.
Monday.
Wow.
The 14-year-old boy was killed by the boyfriend. The boyfriend, 48 years old, and I promised yesterday to not ever say this dude's name again, and I won't.
Don't say it.
Yeah, because he's not important to me.
No.
The 14-year-old boy, Keyshawn Mason, died because the 48-year-old man stabbed him in the chest.
Because we have no love. We have no concern for lives really do matter. We say that we have a concern for lives really do matter. We probably watch too much TV and think, we can resurrect somebody or they'll come back and we'll just think it's a temporary situation. But the reality of it is if you shoot somebody or stab somebody or kill somebody, they're not coming back. So from my perspective, did they have a relationship with God? I believe that our lives are preordained and things do happen. And with that being said, we don't have an expiration date on our big toe that says this is the way we're going to die and when we're going to die. We may anticipate when we're going to be born and we may be a week early or a week late, but when it comes to death, we can't say, oh, my grandmother, she lived to be 92. That was her destiny. We can't say that the young man who died at 14, that wasn't his destiny. We may not have liked the way that he died, but I do believe that our lives are preordained, and so I'm not saying that he deserved any of that, but we don't have that tag toe that says he's gonna die on this day and this is how he's gonna die. And so we just don't know when we're going to die, and so you need to be prepared for that. The whole situation there with the domestic violence, I would speak to women. Verbal abuse is violent. Someone putting their hands on you is definitely violent. When you expose your children to this, they're going to retaliate either to try to protect you, or when they grow up and they have their own relationships, they're going to be either abusive or allow someone to abuse them because that's what they were exposed to. So we have to be real careful what we expose our children to. And women, it's okay to tell somebody that you're being hit. It's okay to tell somebody that you're being verbally abused. It's okay to leave and not look back. When they threaten to kill you, run as far as you can, get some help, some family members. family members, be there for these people when they come with their bruises, because don't send them back home and say, oh, that's just the way they are. We need to really look at domestic violence and what it really is. It's abusive, it hurts, it's painful, and women are, and men, I did statistics one time. Men are abused just as much as women, but they don't want to admit it. And then because of the social stamina of a man being abused, they won't come forward to the police and tell them that they're being abused. But it goes back to the love. I'm not going to put my hands on you to hurt you when I love you. Love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't do any of those things. And we've changed the concept of what love is.
Right. What's so crazy? As soon as you said that, one of the young ladies on the Periscope, T-Dot, she was saying it just as you said it. Men are also abused.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. And then there's verbal abuse. Don't be disrespectful and don't think you can talk to me any old kind of way, because words do hurt. You know, we used to say sticks and stones may break my bones and words don't hurt, but words do hurt. That's where the hurt comes from. You know, hurt people tend to hurt other people. And so if you've been verbally abused, you're going to take that verbal abuse and talk to somebody else the same way, because that's what you're used to. But I'm not used to it, so it's not acceptable.
Well, we talk about the situation of breast cancer right now, and it's I try to make sure everybody understands. Yes, it's big with women, but men also.
Well, yes, that's in my new book. My mom had breast cancer. She passed away October 9th, 2003. So October is a tough month for me. It also, she had the breast cancer. She had her breast removed, but it metastasized to her brain. So it was a double type of effect for us, because it took away the breast and then it went to the brain, and she had to have surgery. And she passed away. She wasn't a survivor. And so she fought a good fight. She was a good fighter. She fought a good fight, ran a good race, and God embraced her. And so I met a young man at DeMarco Salor, shout out. His mother is a 45-year survivor of breast cancer. And so you got to eat right. You got to get your mammograms. You got to get checked out. I recently found out that my goddaughter had breast cancer, but it's hormonal based on her being pregnant. But she had her baby. Her baby is fine. She had to go through chemo treatment, and so she still will have treatments to come, but it was based on her being pregnant. So it's different kinds of cancer. So I would say make yourself a breast of your breast. I mean, feel them. But men do have it too. Richard Roundtree actually had breast cancer, and he's not really an advocate for it, but he did have it. So men need to be well aware as well that they can get breast cancer too.
Okay. Give everybody information one more time, Margaret, so we can go ahead and make sure we get you some books. I want to make, hey, look, y'all have got to, when I say y'all have got to buy her book, you have got to buy. Trust me, I'm on page 46.
Okay, wow.
Well, I got the card where I stopped at, so I'm on 46. I'm still reading. I'm not done.
It's not a big book. It's 120 pages, but some of the pages are journal pages where you can write out your experiences in the book. And so everything dealing with me is margaretpbeans.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow me. Let me get some followers. And so read it, get it. It's $15 online. It's going to be autographed by me. A lot of people wonder, is it going to be autographed? I'll send you an autographed copy, and I'm excited about it, and I hope you will too.
And what's crazy is we're going to do something up here at the studio, and we're going to have you back, and we're going to have you come up here and do a book.